In 1927, a young lady was walking home along a dark, desolate stretch of road, much like this one. Sadly, she would never make it home. Although, she'd keep trying for decades to come. Did you hear the one about Resurrection Mary? It's just past 1 in the morning, and it's true dark. The moon is hiding behind thick clouds, and the headlights hug the tarmac tighter than normal. Make sure your seatbelt's fastened and settle in as we take a drive. Phantom hitchhikers are one of the most infamous roadside attractions of the paranormal. Every nook and cranny of this bleak little world has similar stories. Chicago's, well, it just happens to be world famous. Just shy of an hour away from the southwest side of Chicago sits Resurrection Cemetery. There is an estimated 158,000 interred bodies spread out across its 540 lush green acres in the small town of Justice, Illinois. Ironic because the young woman who came to be known as Mary never received any justice for what happened to her. Now, with all good urban legends, there are facts and there are fictions. In this case, there are many possible Marys. For the longest time, paranormal researchers believed Mary was a woman by the name of Mary Bregovy, who was run down in 1934. But this unfortunate Mary was killed in the downtown Loop district of Chicago, nowhere near Archer Avenue, where the ghost of Resurrection Mary hangs out, waiting for a ride from an unsuspecting motorist like you and I. The name Mary Miskowski has also been thrown into the mix. She was struck and killed while crossing the street in 1930 on her way to a Halloween party. Others believe the real Mary is a young lady named Anna Norkis, who was walking along Archer Avenue when her life was suddenly taken in a tragic hit-and-run accident. But Anna was 12, and those who've seen Mary have reported seeing a woman. So without any concrete leads, whoever the real Mary is remains to be seen. And my friend, seen she has been. You never forget your first ghost. In 1939, the first reported sighting of Mary came from a man named Jerry Paulus. He was attending a dance at the O. Henry Ballroom in Willow Springs. He met a girl there, an ethereal blonde. Boy, she was something, all right. A damn knockout. Lucky him, he ended up dancing with her all night. She was so beautiful that he didn't let the fact that her skin was ice cold bother him. She didn't speak much, just sharing her name, that she lived on the south side of town. Toward the end of the night, he offered to drive her home like a real gentleman. She accepted, but she asked him to take her down Archer Road, which was nowhere near the south side of town. So, deciding to humor this gorgeous creature, that he could see himself spending the rest of his life with, he drove her down the lonely, winding stretch of Archer Road until she asked him to stop. He was, of course, perplexed. She had asked him to stop outside of Resurrection Cemetery, now way past mortal visiting hours. She looked over at him, smiled, and exited the car. Jerry stepped out to see what she was planning to do. But when he turned to where she should have been, there was just night and fog to meet his gaze. Mary was simply not there. Maybe never there. Jerry was confused, certainly scared. He spent the night looking for her in the dark corners of the cemetery and found no one. But he shouldn't have bothered, as he did, as promised. He had driven her home. There's a little red brick dive bar across the street from Resurrection Cemetery. It's named Chet's Melody Lounge. In 1973, a cab driver stormed in asking about a young lady who had requested a ride to the cemetery that very night and had somehow disappeared from the back seat without paying. Believing she had somehow ducked inside the bar to hide, he had come searching. Needless to say, that cab ride was on him. Another story from January 31st, 1979 appeared in a local newspaper, the Suburban Trib. Another put-upon cabbie named Ralph picked up a young woman, and in his own words, quote-unquote, she was a looker, a blonde. She was young enough to be my daughter, 21, tops. She had asked for a ride. According to Ralph, quote-unquote, a couple miles up Archer there, she jumped with a start like a horse and said, "Here, here!" I hit the brakes. I looked around and didn't see no kind of house. "Where?" I said. And then she sticks out her arm and points across the road to my left and says, "There." And that's when it happened. I looked to my left, like this, at this little shack. And when I turned, she was gone, vanished. And the car door never opened. May the good Lord strike me dead. It never opened. The article's author, Bill Geist, no relation to Poltergeist, described Ralph as not an idiot or a maniac. He was a 52-year-old veteran, a Little League coach, and a churchgoer. Certainly not the type to make up ghost stories. Other stories involve late-night drivers like you and I, quietly minding their own business on Archer Road, only for an ephemeral wisp of a blonde in a flowing white dress to walk out onto the road, right between their headlights. They hit her, or whatever she is. They screech to a halt, frantic, only to exit the car, and instead of finding a massacre, they find nothing. No one. Nowhere. In searching for recent sightings on a Reddit thread for Mary, a user by the name of Wise Equivalent 4519 states the following. I have family buried in this cemetery. When my grandma died, I was 11, I believe. We buried her next to my grandfather and my uncle in this cemetery. It was daytime during the summer, and I was riding in the back seat of my dad's car, looking out of my window, looking at the cemetery. That's when I saw her. She was walking along the fence. She was beautiful. Long white dress flowed with the breeze. Her arm was outstretched as she dragged it along the fence behind her. I got a feeling of being unable to pull my eyes away from her, and watched her stop, walking. My dad's car stopped at the red light ahead, before being able to turn into the cemetery. I watched her turn her head and stare directly at me. I put my hand up to the window and watched as she raised her hand slowly and waved before completely disappearing. I've only told this to a couple people, definitely not my family, as I know they wouldn't believe. But I know what I saw. And I never saw her again after that. But every time I visited my grandparents and my uncle, I've always gotten a feeling driving between those cemetery gates. The feeling disappears every time I leave. The user was asked if the apparition was solid or transparent, and Y's equivalent, 4519, replied, "Not completely transparent, but not completely opaque either, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain. The body was more opaque, but further down, she looked like she was flowing. And I don't recall seeing her feet. To me, she just seemed to be gliding across the ground." So, who is Mary? Does it matter? She's not seen as often as she used to be. At least that's what the locals say. While gone from sight, she's not forgotten, whatever she is. Maybe we'll see her tonight, or something just like her, just around the bend, just seconds from our headlights. A flash of a white dress, blonde hair, and the linger of perfume from a place not here.